Right now, we're going to take a look at what's grabbing the headlines on the front pages of newspapers here in France with Flo Villamino. Hello there. And today, we ought to say to our viewers, it is a bit of a special day, in a sense, for the newspapers in France. It is a public holiday for All Saints' Day. And the news agenda does seem to go a little bit different.
Slow,
yeah, a little bit slower, a little bit different on days like this. Nevertheless, quite a lot happening, particularly a story we mentioned in our main news update about what's happening to the migrants that were in the jungle camp in Calais, or people who'd been hoping to go there and now looking for somewhere else to go. There certainly are a lot of people left in a seemingly precarious situation.
That's right. Le Figaro today reports that after Calais, the migrant problem remains intact. And inside, Le Figaro says, officially the jungle has been dismantled, but this is an optical illusion. Authorities might be patting themselves on the back, saying this was a successful operation, but the truth is many migrants from the jungle are just setting up camp elsewhere, like here in Paris, where in the north of the city, there's this new kind of, they're calling it the mini jungle. In fact, you have about 2,000 migrants that have set up camp in the northern, the area called Stalingrad. It's in the northern part of Paris.
It's around the metro that's called Stalingrad.
That's right.
In case anybody's wondering why there's a strangely Russian-named district.
It's near Gare du Nord, if you're familiar with that train
where
station.
The Eurostar
as well,
comes in.
Where the Eurostar comes
There we
in. So Le Figaro says, one camp, the jungle, has been dismantled, but all these migrants are popping up all over the country. So was this really a success? Can you say that it's really over now?
And President François Hollande, he said at the weekend that this kind of camp has to be shut down. It's not worthy of France.
That's right. And yesterday we saw, police have started this vast operation to check the administrative status of these migrants that are in Paris. Lots of people say this could be the preparation for a further evacuation, another kind of spectacular evacuation. Le Figaro, on its editorial, you can see it wonders, are these kind of spectacular evacuations effective? Because the truth is, migrant camps tend to periodically pop up in Paris. They'll be cleared out in front of the cameras, and then they'll just sprout up again, often in the exact same place. And so, according to Le Figaro, these kind of massive, spectacular evacuations are actually just a PR operation for authorities to seem like they're on top of the situation. Le Figaro, do bear in mind, Le Figaro is the right-wing paper here in France, says none of this is effective. The only way to effectively stop the migrant problem, that's what they call it, is to increase border controls and to kick out fake refugees.
Well, Le Monde, the broadsheet newspaper, it's wondering whether all of these sort of high-profile campaigns against migrant camps, all that kind of thing, if it isn't in fact fueling a sort of general sentiment against poor people.
That's right. Now, we've seen that several homeless shelters were set on fire last month. It turned out to be arson in 2 cases. Now, if we take a look at the front page of Le Monde, you can see they're talking about a hostility against poor people that is on the rise. People are expressing it more and more openly in France. It's quite alarming. In fact, homeless charities have sounded the alarm over what they're calling a growing poor phobia, if you will. It seems like public opinion is really hardening here in France. Le Monde, for instance, talks about a recent poll where 36% of French people say they believe that poor people just haven't tried hard enough to get out of their condition. Now, Le Monde reports that in certain cases, it's actually local authorities that are setting the pace here. For instance, in Angoulême is famous for hosting the cartoon festival every year. Well, authorities there have put up fences around benches, it's quite impressive, to stop homeless people from sleeping there. And so Le Monde says that, when you have local authorities, so blatantly against homeless people, it's not really surprising that public opinion follows suit as well.
All right, let's move on to something completely different. I said right at the top that it's an interesting news day for the newspapers. Le Parisien aujourd'hui en France, one of the most read newspapers here in France. It's looking at the dark side of the internet. It's not all about the cute cat videos then.
That's right. It seems like Le Parisien has finally discovered the internet. It's not all beautiful Care Bears, etc. There's a dark side as well. You can see it here. And in fact, Le Parisien proposes to readers a dive into the dark side of the internet. It's a lawless world where everything is possible, especially the worst.
I think we knew that, didn't we?
Didn't we? Yeah, exactly. It seems like Le Parisien might have been hiding under a rock.
They need to watch
15
France
years.
24.
Exactly. Well, if you've been hiding under a rock for the past 15 years, you can check out Le Parisien today, and you'll find out more about this dark web. It's like an iceberg. In fact, they have this little drawing to explain just how the internet works. Now, on the top of the iceberg, you have all the nice, safe things like Facebook and YouTube, where you can see your cat videos. And then underwards, under the surface, you have the big dark web. You can see it here, where it's a hacker's paradise. The only rule is anonymity. And in fact, Le Parisien interviews a reformed hacker, that's what they call him, Daniel Smith, who says you can find anything: cannabis, cocaine, weapons. It's really shocking.
I've mainly been looking at videos of honey badgers recently, I have to say. I've moved on from the cat videos. If you want to check them out, honey badgers. They're very good videos.
I like red pandas myself.
There we go. I mean, wildlife. Let's just stick to the wildlife. Just another word about things you can find on the internet. There's also news for people who are wanting to kind of mark today's All Saints' Day in a very traditional way. It's meant to be a day where you go and visit your relatives' graves.
That's right. That's what French people do. And elsewhere in the world, it's the Day of the Dead, if you will. Several websites actually have very interesting information about cemeteries, if you're interested. Cimetière de France, for instance, is an incredible website. You can see it here with information about just about every cemetery in France, who's there, if you want to visit their tombs. Now, today, as you said, is a day when people visit cemeteries. Rue 89, just one last article, has an interesting phenomenon. It's people who are obsessed with cemeteries online. And it's a whole community of people who provide information like this about a cemetery. So if you're interested and you want to visit a cemetery today, do check out these websites.
Very interesting indeed. Thank you very much for that seasonal press review, Flo Villamino. He'll be back later on looking through the international press as well.